Hi there, Blackbright. Welcome to my channel. First time passing through, the usual thumbs up, thumbs down, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And you can read through the description about who I am, what I do, that kind of thing. I'm going through this self-help series at the moment. While there's not much happening around the world apart the same old depressing stuff. So I'm looking at ways to help us improve our current situations and help us to analyze our relationships and possibly improve them through a better understanding about what is going on. Now, it's really hot today. I feel quiet. But anyway, I'm going to go through it regardless. So today it's about mother forkers and who enable them. Can't use any bad language, but I'm hoping that you'll get my understanding by the end of the video. So it's about women who enable men to mistreat them and then turn around and call them all the names under the sun. So how do women enable men to mistreat them? Well, it starts off, I think, with the parents, with the mother most of all, the mother who loves her son. And you know the relationship between a mother and son, it's usually much stronger than a mother and a father. A son and his mother have usually a much more emotionally bonding relationship than a father and son, who are more likely to have a more business-oriented relationship. So because the mother tends to dote on her sons, she tends to overcompensate. And you'll find that a lot of mothers, they're kind of be there for their sons regardless. And maybe that is the role of a mother. I don't know. I don't have a son. I've always said if I did have a son, I would spoil him to death. So I can understand to a degree. So mothers teach their sons to rely on them. They usually say no woman is good enough for them. And all the women have to go through them before they're approved by their sons. They tend to say, come back to mama when things go wrong. And so men who have mothers like this, end up believing that if anything goes wrong, I can go back to mama. And also what that translates into is that a man won't even bother to try because he knows if everything goes tits up, his mother is there waiting for him. The only thing with that is that when mothers enable their sons and say that they're going to be there for them, they wash their clothes, they pay them, they pay their way. If they haven't got any money, they take money out of their little savings and give it to the son. You're not teaching your son to be a man. You're not teaching your son to be a leader. You're not teaching your son self-respect. What you are doing is teaching your son to be codependent. And any woman that takes your son on is going to have to take over your role. So, and that's not good. That's not a good quality for men to have. Men have to be taught to be protectors, to be leaders, and to be equals. So when mothers in particular are teaching their sons that I'm here whenever you need me. And you know what happens when the mother passes? That poor son is totally flawed, feels totally vulnerable, feels totally exposed. His security blanket is gone. And then they start looking for women who can take their mother's place. And there are a lot of women out there who rescue men, who are looking for men who need direction, who are looking for men who need a leg up, who are looking for men who they can take care of and nurture. And so those two tend to become, a compatible couple. But then what happens is resentment builds up because after a while, it's okay in the beginning, and that woman believes that, okay, she's helping this guy out in the beginning, and somewhere down the line, she's expecting him to pick himself up and be able to be self-sufficient and can, she's trying to turn a boy into a man, really. So she's kind of doing everything and teaching him this and teaching him that so he can then, do stuff on his own. But because he's been enabled by his mother, and this has been reinforced by a new relationship, i.e. the woman who's rescuing him, he doesn't know any different. He doesn't know that he must stop relying on whichever female is in his life. He just believes that this is normal. He believes that women are there to lift him up, protect him, and look after him. And so you have these situations where when that stops happening, that man will go from relationship to relationship to relationship, looking for that woman who is going to replace his mother. That's why I call it mother focus. Okay? Because the only difference there is that they're actually being intimate with their partner. So, I've already said that. What else have we got here? Toxic masculinity. Now, what's toxic masculinity? Well, toxic masculinity is when men are afraid to be vulnerable. And they tend to mistreat women because they are afraid of their vulnerable. So they go the other side. Instead of, opening up their heart, softening, speaking nicely, being considerate, they put up this barrier and they're quite obnoxious and they tend to not be thoughtful or considerate, and they feel as though that is how they have to be in order to protect themselves. They're afraid of being hurt, their mother abandoning them through passing on. So they have an innate fear of any woman coming into their life who they're attached to is going to abandon them too or leave them to it. And so they're constantly building up this defense. They don't want to get too close in case that person moves on. So it's a case of afraid to show emotion, afraid to be vulnerable. But it blocks them to love, it blocks them to getting close to someone when you've always got your defenses up, afraid to make yourself vulnerable. Women who rescue, they're looking for men who have been hurt, who have been rejected, who need guidance. They try to put some optimism in their lives. They try to prove that all women are not the same. They have no boundaries, so men can come and go as they please. They try to upgrade them to overcompensate. And these are the women who feel as though these men who are wayward or lost or, who need help, they are the ones, they're their princess in shining armour, not their knight in shining armour, which is the way it should be, but they're the princess in shining armour, coming to rescue this little page who needs to become a king. But instead they take on a burden, because like I said, when people are fragile, and like I said in previous videos, adverse childhood experiences take their toll on certain individuals, and no matter what you do, no matter how you try to pull someone up and lift somebody's energy up, they end up bringing your energy down. So you have to be very careful who you rescue. I remember I used to be a rescuer. But I read somewhere that you should never rescue. If somebody asks you for help, then you help them. But you don't preempt what you perceive the help that they need. You don't go in jumping first and helping someone. Anyone that asks for help, yes, if you're able to help them, but don't go rescuing. And when I read that, that's when I moved on to the next level. I stopped rescuing. Because rescuing, it's almost like it gives you a sense of superiority. That's the same thing that women hate. Women hate being superior to men. Women are looking for men who are their equal. In fact, they're looking for men who are superior to them. They're looking for men who they can look up to. They're looking for leaders. So women who rescue, they're kind of taking on someone who they will never be able to respect, because they're the ones that are doing everything and they're the ones who feel superior. And then they end up disrespecting that man and putting him down because they feel, especially if that man is not lifting himself up and is not doing anything, to get himself in a better position. And then you find yourself in a vicious circle. But some women, especially those with low self-esteem, they will look for men to rescue. They will look for men who they can feel better than. And then when they lift up the man, and sometimes you see these women, they pick up a man and then can't dress him look like crap. And then buy him some nice clothes, some nice shoes, and, expensive ties, expensive shirts. And they kit him out really, really well, send him to college, teach him this, teach him that. Next thing you know, the man gone. She ain't good enough for him anymore. I hate it when his hair's coming into my face. Yeah, she's not good enough for him anymore. She's not, him go and put in business. Him turn Topanaris and turn big shot. Him can't get anybody. She should have left him how he was in his bloody slippers. Honestly. That's what happens sometimes. So, men learn. When you enable a man, they will say you can teach him. If you teach a man, if you catch fish for men, or not if you catch fish for men. If you teach someone how to fish, they can have food for the rest of their lives. If you catch the fish and give them the fish, then they're going to be dependent all their lives, or a saying like that. But whatever it is, when you're enabling someone, you have to enable them to be free. You enable them to be self-sufficient. You enable them to be able to do stuff on their own. If you enable somebody so that they're totally reliant on you all the time, that means you're doing it because you want to have some kind of superiority over that person. And you have some kind of issues. That person makes you feel important. That's not how it's supposed to go. So women who rescue do not command respect. They do not require masculinity, and they do not expect stability. Men quickly learn that she doesn't need me for anything, so I can do my own thing. So if a woman has a man and she's doing everything for him and she's not expecting him to do anything for her, because she's probably chosen below her status or whatever the reason is. This hair all over the place. I hate that. I can see it. It's like a little tail. And it's not going anywhere. I'll have to ignore it. But anyway, so if you've got a man who you do everything for, he's going to think, why do I have to do anything? She's paying the bills. She's washing the clothes. She's doing the shopping. She's changing light bulbs. She's putting up the door. She's painting. She's doing everything. Woman's there thinking, yeah, I'm so independent. I can do this. I can do that. The man's there thinking, well, if you can do all of that, you don't need me. What do you need me for? You know what I mean? And it shouldn't just be the sexual intimacy that's important. It's the whole package. When you have somebody who you can respect and you look up to, and you have that whole package, that is what is important. That reciprocation, that banter back and forth. You don't want somebody who you're lifting up and, all the time. It's just dragging you down. You could be 10 steps ahead, but instead you're dragging someone along with you and they're dragging you back with them. So instead of going forward, you're going backwards. And why? Is it good for your ego? What do you think you're doing? How do you think you're helping that man? Men are supposed to be kings. Women have great influence over men, positive influence over men, and they should be enabling men, not facilitating men to become victims and people who have to depend on them because of their situation. So, a lot of these women, we have women who enjoy masochistic relationships. They love being on an emotional roller coaster. They love argument. They love, it's really annoying. And these are the women who men believe that women want a certain type of man. When you hear about men say women don't want nice men. It's not that they don't want nice men. It's that they want men who they can look up to, men who they're equal. Nice men is associated with subservience, a deferential, men who kind of are wishy-washy and, you can walk all over them. That's when they talk about they don't like nice men. They don't want anybody they can walk over. They want a man who they can respect. And respect doesn't mean somebody who's aggressive and obnoxious and who treats them like crap. That's not the opposite of somebody who's nice. That's overcompensating. I watch Bachelor in Paradise and I know you're all grown. Oh, God. Somebody intelligent like you watch Bachelor in Paradise? Yes, I do. And you know what I learned? We've got a nice guy in there, Dylan, right? And he loves Hannah. And he'll do anything for Hannah. And he's declared his love for Hannah. And he's so doting and affectionate. Hannah, she kind of likes it. She likes the attention, so to speak. She loves the attention. Anyway, this Blake guy comes in. Blake, who's been having sex with every all and sundry. He comes in on the sign, very charismatic, very cool. And he makes a play for Hannah. So Hannah walks off with him, forgets about poor Dylan. Dylan's there, oh, I really love Hannah and blah, blah, blah. And I don't know what it is that Blake has. And anyway, Hannah then goes off with Blake. Next thing you know, the two of them are kiss up and she's jumping up and putting her legs around his waist and goodness knows what, right in front of Dylan. Okay? So you would say Dylan is a wuss, wouldn't you? You would say, oh, she doesn't like nice guys. So anyway, the long and short of it is that she had an opportunity to give her rose to anyone in the group. And you give your rose to the person you want to have a relationship with. So Blake is all standing up there, all confident. Dylan is there kind of, with his head kind of at a level. But the good thing was, let me interject here, because what Dylan had said to her, she went back to him and said, I'm really sorry about, making out in front of you. I just don't know what I want. I like him and I like you. And Dylan said to her, look, I'm here whenever you want me. I'll be here waiting for you. Anyway, so go back now. Fast forward. It's a rose ceremony. She can give the rose. Everybody thinks she's going to give the rose to Blake. She gives it to Dylan. But my point is that Dylan upped in her estimation when he said to her, I'm going to allow you to do whatever you want. I'll be here waiting. Now, he didn't say it in a way that was, deferential or he didn't call her saying, oh, I really want you. I can't do without you. I can't live without you. He didn't say it in that way. He said it in a really serious, assertive way. And it gave her pause to think. Did she really want somebody who, okay, it might be passionate. Passionate could be short-lived. Or did she want somebody who was reliable, who knew what he wanted, and who was committed? So she ended up choosing Dylan. Now, what I'm saying is that when, people would have said, he's an idiot. How can you take a woman back who's been cavorting with someone else? But the fact of the matter is that he still stood assertive. And yes, he did shed a few tears, not in front of her, but he did. But in the end, he knew that he wanted her. We don't know how it's going to play out. Maybe he isn't strong enough. Maybe his commitment might win her over. I don't know. She's one of these people who's been hurt and goodness knows what, and she doesn't want to make any mistakes, so she's testing out the water. But, and you're in a position, people might say, well, why doesn't she go away and do that somewhere else where he can't see her? But it's that kind of environment where there is no hiding place. Anything you do, you're going to be seen. So all I'm saying with that is that yeah, that was a nice guy versus not so nice guy scenario example.